Hello, everybody. We are live. I am live. If you cannot tell, Jake is not here again. He is still in Sardinia. We had tried to alter the time to a later time so we could have joined, but it turns out he is unable to make it. So you're just with me, just me today. And yeah, we've just had episode 5. And I'll be curious. I'll let people join. But let me know straight away. How did you feel about it? Did you enjoy it? Was it a good episode? Or was it an iffy one? Or was it the worst one? What do you think? I kind of know where I'm sitting at the moment, but I'd love to hear a few thoughts from you guys. But first of all, it's quite early, so I do apologize. And this is another initial reaction. We tried this last week. We'll try it again now. So managed to have one watch through, just one go at it, taking stuff in. There's going to be stuff I've missed, stuff that I will include later on for a breakdown video. Yeah, some of these reactions might end up changing a bit over time. Definitely my ones from last week were, although still episode 4 was not the best episode, I don't think it was quite as bad overall as I felt when I first watched it. Let's jump into the chat. Matt's here. Hello, Matt. Really not sure about this Mithril origin story, to be honest. I was wondering how long it would take for that to come up, to be fair. Yeah, I'm not a fan on first viewing. I'm all for seeing stories of elves versus Balrogs. That's always going to be fun to see. Almost sad we didn't see it more live action than just the story way we kind of saw it. But I don't particularly like that idea that Mithril basically came from a Silmaril, in essence. Assuming I kind of took all that in right on first viewing. Again, I may slightly misinterpret things on one go. But yeah, because it doesn't really explain. Because okay, someone can correct me if I'm wrong for thinking this, but if I remember right, Mithril is found in 2 places. So you got Khazad-dûm, and I feel it was also found on Numenor. Not to the same extent, like the same amount, but I swear Mithril is also found in Numenor. So if it was from this event that happened, is what kind of led it to end up there, what does that mean for the other lot? Is it just not going to exist in the show? Because that could just be the case, yeah, for sure. Or is there something more to it? I don't know. I'm really on the fence about it at the moment. I don't feel strongly that it was a good idea. And I don't really know. I feel like they've almost been allowed to talk about Silmarils, and they've taken it more than they needed to. So, yeah, not really sure. Also, Valinor. Huh. I do not remember Mithril being on Valinor. That is interesting. If it was on Valinor, would they not have already had some knowledge of it? Or maybe not. But as wrong one, sorry. But as Dustin says, why make an origin story for Mithril anyways? Yeah, that's kind of what I don't get. Why? Yeah, basically why? Why? It's an ore. It's a material. You don't need an origin story for it. It's supposed to be, if anything, showing how good the dwarves are at what they do. They're excellent miners. They have a way with rock that no other being can have. So finding Mithril is like their holy grail, their big moment, their time to shine. That's their thing, the thing that realistically other races couldn't do in the same way that they did. But now it all actually comes from an elf kind of being responsible. It's just not. It just doesn't feel right, and I don't know what it does for the story in a way that, okay, does that is it supposed to make Durin and all feel more like they have to help the elves because the elves are the ones who initially invented this thing that they've now found? I just don't really get it. And I don't think I like it. And it just feels unnecessary, which is probably why. It might not be the worst thing in the world. It's probably not going to ruin the story, maybe. But I just don't understand the thought process behind it. Which just feel like something like I feel like I just need sound bites that I can just play for every episode. And that seems to be one of them that I just don't understand why they've done it. It is a tough one. Yeah, for all the material that they could cover, for all the character development that we could see, an origin story for Mithril just doesn't feel like the most necessary thing that they could have done. And the reasoning for it as well. Well, the reason why the owls want it, I should say, the fact that they are fading away into nothingness because the light is diminishing. It's just a bit. They're immortal beings. It's yeah. Oh, where's that gone? Sorry, wrong one. But I will address this one from Julie. That's why I don't like it. It takes away from the dwarves' talents. Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to get at. Is this is when Khazad-dûm is at its height. This is when basically dwarf mining is at its best. This is like their big moment, the time that they are doing great. And it does take away from it. It's almost like they found something that was placed there for them ages before by the elves, not they discovered something that the elves had never been able to. It doesn't really set them apart in the same way. But the one I was going to click on was from Awesome Person AP. The elves are naturally immortal. They don't need light baths. Yeah, it does feel like they're kind of going for a battery recharge type thing here. It's not quite how I felt like it was going to go. I don't really know. I just don't know. It's again, it happened. I don't feel as angry, disappointed as I did after last week. I did enjoy this episode more. It felt like a better episode of TV. But yeah, I've got more questions this time around. Salut, clueless fangirl. Just finished. So you have finished the episode. If you finished the episode, we're talking about the episode. You can say what you want. Obviously, spoilers for those who haven't seen the episode, but obviously as an after party, I'm going for the assumption that everyone who's here has seen it. Yeah. What did you all think? Come on, I want to know in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. And hello to Ranger of the North. Okay, so my opinion on the episode. I did think it was a decent episode. Again, I don't know. The thing I'm actually now finding, the more episodes we're going in, and I've tried to make a point so far every week, I've rewatched every episode in the lead up to the next episode. And it kind of makes more sense as I've gone along, but I also feel like the show is getting stronger overall. And it's kind of something that I've said from the beginning is that I needed the full first season to come out to really make a valid opinion on what's going on. Without it's things like this Silmaril Mithril thing is we wouldn't have predicted that last episode, really. So those things is things you can't predict. So it's hard to make a judgment fully on it when there's such big things still to happen. And there's going to be plenty more big things. For those of you who watched the teaser for episode 6, there's obviously big things happening next episode. And I kind of heard around that episode 6 is supposed to be a very, very good one. So I am holding high hopes for that. This episode did very much feel like a lot more setup again. I feel like so far we've basically had 5 episodes of setup, almost like a prologue to the what's actually going to happen. It's almost like season 1 is a prologue to the Rings of Power show that's going to actually kickstart in season 2. That's kind of what I'm getting more of a feeling of at this point. But yeah, the point I was kind of trying to get to though is after watching them all again and then again and then again leading up to each episode, I'm finding that the episodes are more on a level playing field. There's not so much this episode was a 2, this one was an 8, this one was a 4, this one's a 10. I'm finding everything is sitting around that 6 to potentially up to an 8 mark. But my grades for these episodes just keep changing week by week, judging it by the next episode being involved. So I can't really give full on scores until the whole season's out to really judge how it goes. Again, without the payoffs, I don't know. I can't make a judgment on a story that's been written if I don't know how it ends. It could be the greatest thing ever, but if the ending is absolutely dreadful, it makes all the lead up dreadful as well. Even if it was apparently great setup, if the payoff doesn't work, the setup is then rubbish. So at the moment, I feel like I'm sitting like 6, 7, 8, somewhere floating around, kind of depends on my mood. Depends how lore accurate I'm feeling. Depends how much I can forgive and forget. But somewhere around that 6 to 8 mark. And I feel like this episode is kind of online with that, potentially at the higher end, because I feel like we're actually getting somewhere now. Albeit it did still take an entire episode for the Numenorian ships to even leave, which I expected to happen way earlier than the very end of the episode. But yeah, that's kind of my rough thoughts to start with. There's many more things. I haven't even touched on Harfoot, Adar, or anything yet, but we got time. I'm in no rush. Thank you for the question. Let's catch up with what some people are saying. Oh, wow, we've had way more comments. Hey, there's quite a few people here, actually. I never know at this kind of time in the morning well, for me it's morning. I don't know what time it is for you. It's 8:30. Well, 20 to 9 in the morning for me. So, yeah. Okay, sorry. I'm catching up now. So, yeah, give me a quick rating in the comment section. Give me a quick rating then. Out of 10, where are you feeling it? Like I'm probably going to give this episode probably like a 7 to 7.5. So, somewhere around there. But yeah, let me know, all of you, just a number out of 10. What do you think? I want to get a feeling for how everyone else is feeling. And are you the same as me? Do you not always take do you find you take a second watch to really fully appreciate stuff sometimes, or fully understand a lot of it? Sometimes I get taken in a bit on the first viewing and I need a second or third to really like take it apart and take it for what it really is. It's from Duck Dick 1:43 here. Oof. So you are wait, is that going to be morning 1:43 in the morning or 1:43 in the afternoon? 1:43 in the afternoon is fine. 1:43 in the morning, that's fair play to you. From Hodrix. It was a hot mess lore-wise and feels like a Disney soap, but I enjoyed some parts. Benjamin Stark is a great actor. Yes, Joseph Mowley. Joseph. Yes, Adar, basically, in other words. Yeah, I've loved every moment he's been on screen so far. I am a fan of. I love the character. I kind of love what they're doing with him. His moments in this episode, he didn't have many, but he's one of the few actors in the show that I feel like doesn't need much time at all on screen to take a scene by the scruff of its neck. I feel like he's done a great job so far. So yeah, very much a fan. Okay, let's see what some of these scores are coming in as. Sean gives it a 6. Duck Dick gives it a 3, saying it's pure filler. Jeffrey gave it a 9. Nathan, 9:45 in the morning. So you're an hour ahead of me. And you gave it a 4.5 out of 10. Ryan gave it a 7. Wesley a 6. Ben says last stream Jake used the word generic, and that feels quite apt at this stage. Yeah, potentially. I do very much apologize. You have to bear with me one moment. Someone has just come in the building, and I'm the only one here. So I will be right back. I swear. Of course that was going to happen, wasn't it? Yeah, sorry. One of our coaches has just come in for the gym. Just needed to warn him. Anyway, back to where we were. Yes, generic. That's where we were at. I'm thrown now. I'm very much thrown. So yes, I feel like they're trying to give more hints of the Tolkien lore. Yes, they're changing stuff loads, but generic's also a really hard one to say because generic fantasy most of the time is based off what Tolkien wrote in the first place. He kind of is the founder of so many things that you see. So it's generic is almost Tolkien. I'm not saying that's good. I'm not like defending it in any way, shape, or form with that. But sometimes I find generic is hard with fantasy when the thing that we're talking about is the thing that set the tone for generic, because that's who made it. Does that make sense? Am I rambling about nothing? I don't know. Let's get back to some scores. Wiley gave it a 5. Matthew is 7. Ryan is 7. Dissident is 7. 7. Okay, so we seem to be sitting somewhere between 5 to 7. I think seems fair. 5, 6, 7. So we'll probably go on average. You guys at the moment seem to be averagely giving it about a 6. I need to figure out. I want to give a poll, but I don't know how. I'll come back to that in a minute. For Daniel Scuff, it's 4:44 in Japan. That's amazing that someone from Japan is watching this right now. That is insane. That's that's. I love hearing where all the people are watching from. I don't know why. It's just a thing of just knowing that there's people literally gone everywhere. They're like everywhere, all over the planet, somehow tuning in to watch right now. It's just nuts. Absolutely nuts. Okay, so for B Vargas 78, haven't seen the episode yet, but don't mind the spoilers. But the series so far on the whole has been a 6 out of 10 for me. And that's going in with the mindset that it's only based on Tolkien's world and not canon. Yeah, that's kind of been the almost safer way to go about this. It's I hate to say it, they spent so much money on the rights for it all. They really made such a point of saying it was going to be faithful and everything, but it's not. It's not going to be faithful. I don't know how they could ever claim it was going to be faithful beforehand when they knew the changes they were making to it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But yes, taking it from, it's got a bit of Tolkien dressing on it, and we're getting a new show. That might be the way you get the most enjoyment out of it. But there's still time. There is still time. From Clueless Fangirl, it was a decent episode, but we are mostly getting somewhere, in my opinion, because we learn more of the baddies and slowly things start connecting. The more known parts and the elves disappoint me personally. Yeah, that is very much what's kind of happened with the show in the end. Is if it already existed, if Tolkien already wrote about it, it's not working in the show. If it is an original concept for the show, it is working. Which kind of makes me think that this Mithril Silmaril thing, although again, don't know why, it might work well in terms of the story that they're going to be telling. Now, obviously, that is not Tolkien's story, that is Amazon's story, but it might work. But yes, I do feel like we are finally starting to get somewhere with this. We're starting to actually push along. Again, admittedly, I feel like 5 episodes is too long of a time to finally be getting to that point. I feel like this should have potentially been the first 2 episodes. Those first 2 they put out at the beginning to get us to where we need to go. They released them in one go, almost like 2 feature films. And at the end of that, we're set up ready to actually dive into the meat, the whatever Jaren's line was from the episode, the raw meat, just give it to him. That's going to be misconstrued in so many ways. I'm there. The memes, I'm sure they're already out there. Yeah. It's a great line. But yes, yeah, the elves though have been almost all disappointing. The higher ones, the Gil-galads, the Celebrimbles, they've been disappointing. I've enjoyed Elrond. I've enjoyed Arondir probably the most, ironically, of them all, being the original one. But yeah, the connections is getting better. Sorry, Clueless Fango. Yes, poll. Okay, I need to figure out how to add a poll to this. Do I need to do it through a phone or something, maybe? I will figure this out as I talk. So, from B. Vargas, yeah, when you say generic orcs or generic dwarves in a different setting, say Dungeons and Dragons, they tend to be Tolkien style orcs or dwarves. Yes, and that is a difficult thing with a lot of it. Like I kind of said, generic is based off Tolkien. Generic is Tolkien inspired. Generic is what Tolkien invented, and someone else then changed. So yes, generic does very much make sense. Amazon have taken Tolkien and changed it. But it's also hard because of, yeah, the kind of things I covered before. Okay, let's see if I can figure this out. Because, I was not prepared enough to do this beforehand, was I? Because I can't seem to add it on there. Oh. Okay, so if I go in the chat, it's not giving me an option for that. Okay, we're not going to do a poll. I got your scores. It'll be fine. Anyway, Sergeant, 3 a.m. Fair play to you for being up at 3 a.m. to listen to me ramble about an episode of a TV show that has just come out. That is dedication, and I love it. Hello to Epic Kingdom. It's always past midnight here in Mortal. Okay, let's address this other one from Clueless Fango then before we crack on a bit with the episode. Who is Meteor Man? Every episode I am more and more confused. I'm still thinking confused Balrog. I think something in this episode very much went against that. If it is a confused Balrog or any form of a darker Maya, why ice? How would ice heal a body that is basically evil? I know we've seen the ice and the cold from the hints of Sauron at the beginning of the season, but obviously Balrog is a fire demon. I don't think they would go ice heals turned into fire demon. At least in my head, that doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm still saying Blue Wizard. I still hope Blue Wizard, and I've said it from day one, and I feel like I'm going to die on this sword if it doesn't happen anyway. But Blue Wizard just makes the most sense, and I can't see a different version of that working well. Gandalf, nah. Radagast, nah. Saruman, nah. Balrog, nah, not really for me. I would just have to say Blue Wizard. They're unexplored. You've got so much more freedom with them. You can basically go where you want with them. Yeah, something I need to look at as well, because I cannot remember off the top of my head now from just this first watch. But obviously, we get the pathway that the Harfoots go on. We get the map. We see them going through there, and they say about all these places they're going. And I can't remember where it is they were looking for. But if that's anywhere near the east, that is again pointing towards Blue Wizards, as they did travel to the east. And they traveled there, and they got to Middle Earth in the Second Age. It all just makes sense. I hope. I really do hope. I just, yeah. Okay, let's see. Yeah, like the Jackal says, the Blue Wizards are like a gift to the writers, and I hope they use them. I think it could be the right way to go. I am more curious now with these Malkor cultists, the priestesses, whatever the official name is that actually been given to them. As it appeared that they had like the constellation map on that thing they were holding, which is, I need to double check this. I may be making this up on the spot, to be perfectly honest, but from what I thought, it looked like the same that the stranger was drawing while carving into the stones in the earlier episodes. So somehow this thing that he knows in his head, these cult people already know. So that may well point to something more evil or something else entirely. That's a weird one, how they both know that, how these people have this map basically that leads them to him and why they're searching for him. Yeah. That's one of those points which I really do need to watch back and see again exactly how they did it. And if it does point to that exact same thing. Obviously I very much doubt this is the case, but I'm assuming it is very much the same crater, the same place, the same landing, and it's not potentially a second landing spot of someone else, like a second certain blue individual. I don't think that's the case, but that could be interesting as well if they were searching at a different meteor landing site for the other one. Because we don't know the fate of the Blue Wizards. They are a writer's dream. They can do what they want. within reason with them. But I did find it interesting as well, though, that that Meteor Man, he hurt himself. He actually like bruised and was getting injured from using some of his power. Is that a sign that if he is one of the Maiar, that he's got more power than he should have, and he's been put in this older, frail body as he's been sent there, and maybe that power is too much for him. Maybe this is why later on the wizards, when they're sent there, have more of their power taken off them. That's why they're just a percent, they're just a fraction of what their true power is because the bodies that they're sent in can't handle the use of their true power. Maybe when Gandalf the Grey could only use so much, then he was sent back as Gandalf the White with more power. Maybe something was almost like a slightly younger body, maybe something that would be able to withstand the extra power more. Yeah, that's a very, very good point from Dustin. Explains why wizards use staffs to control their power. So maybe, yeah, maybe this is almost like a failed experiment. They've sent the blue wizards first. Obviously supposed to arrive somewhere mid-Second Age, almost with too much of a percentage of their power. The bodies can't handle it, and this leads to either a corruption or a failure because it's just too much to handle. They end up not being able to use any of their power because using it will kill them in the end. And then that's why later in the Third Age, when they send the others, being Gandalf, Radagast, Sauron, that in fact they make sure that they have staffs as well, because then that's a way to channel their power and not put the strain on their bodies as much, but more strain on this item. Could be a way it works. I could get on board with that. I'd be happy with that. Includes Fango from the bottom of the chat window. Tap create a poll. Tiny icon, create a poll, then ask your community. I can only do it on the computer. That's where I'm going wrong. Okay. I'm going to put one in now. Let's figure this out, shall we? Okay, you can bear with me for just a moment. But yeah, what do you all think then? Do you think this could be a blue wizard? Do you think that is the whole power thing? Do you think there could be another one somewhere? How would you feel if they sent one blue wizard? Because that's kind of something I haven't really considered. Is if they are going to do the blue wizards, that they're going to have to do both. So yeah, I don't know how I'd feel if they only sent one. That would be a bit of a weird one. That would be a very weird one, actually. Okay, come on. Let's get in this. Do apologize. I will. Okay. Oh, we've had a super chat. Let's address this while I figure out this whole poll thing because, Oh, that's great. Can I do it this way? Okay, sorry. Super chat from that one video. Hey, how are you doing, man? Hope all is good. I hope all is good. Poppy sings, "Not all those who wander." Nod to Gandalf reciting a poem for Aragorn in future. A hint he learned these words from Harfoots. Not all. I'm trying to think at the moment because I may be wrong. Is it Gandalf who actually says that initially? In my head, I had it was a poem that Bilbo wrote. Or am I wrong? Because I feel like that was a thing that Bilbo wrote for Aragorn. And I think they might have given it to Gandalf in the movies, but I think originally it was a Bilbo poem. But I did actually like that. I liked that song. I liked that bit with Poppy and the singing. And I mean, that's always the thing with hobbits is they like a good song. They love a good they love that kind of thing. So I like that they are introducing that with the Harfoots as well. I do like the nod to it that if Bilbo did come, everyone, yeah, okay, everyone is saying Bilbo. Okay, I am right. I wasn't going mad. Yeah, then yeah, I think it works. I like it. They've had to have heard it from somewhere. Bilbo had to learn that from somewhere, and I think it goes well. I'm happy with that. I think it was a very nice nod. And thank you for the super chat as well. I very much appreciate it. Okay, let's get a question out there. Let's go for episode rating first. Let's see what you all think for those of you who don't want to go in the chat. How many options can I have? How many options? I can have 4. Okay. So, okay, we're doing this on a scale of 1 to 4 because that's now a thing. So, like I need a different mic setup. This is just inconvenient when I actually want to type something. 3 and let's go. 4 is the worst. Ask your community. Okay. That should be up now. Yeah, very generic poll. Just how do you find it? Do you think rating of 1 to 4, 1 being the best for whatever reason? Let's see how that goes. Okay. Okie dokie 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 dokie. Sorry, let's catch up with the chat now. Oh, I've missed the load. I am very much sorry about that, but huh. Yes, for that one, yeah, fair point. I heard it was like, oh no, they are suggesting he's Gandalf. Yeah, that would have been very much a suggestion that yeah, they were trying to hint at a Gandalf thing there. And they are still playing that card. They are still trying to make people think it in that way, especially for movie fans, I guess. Maybe a little bit more. But yeah, Blue Wizard. Definitely Blue Wizard. From Dissident. Bear McCreary is totally killing the soundtrack for this show. Yes, 100%. I don't think there's a single moment of bad music. Everything I hear, it's like music to my ears, as you would say. It's yeah. I I cannot argue with anything. Sometimes, okay, maybe I could argue with the choice of the soundtrack they put in certain scenes. The main one being that comes straight to my head is the slow-mo Theo Arondia escaping from episode 4. But the actual music was brilliant. Just the use and timing of it was what felt off. So yes, Bear, in fact, has been absolutely incredible. I kind of wish that he had wrote the main theme as well now, because I get they got Howard Shore in to do the main theme. I just don't feel like that main theme had the same kick as the Lord of the Rings theme. I don't know. But Bear did such a great job. I would have loved to have seen him do the whole thing. I would love to see what he would have done for a main theme as well. Maybe we'll get a bonus one day. Okay, let's catch up again. Yeah, this is fair from Doug Dick. It was pretty convenient that the statue was only like 6 feet away. I'm guessing you're talking about the carving in the tree for the Southland storyline with the with the blade hilt black. Sorry, my mind went a little bit then. Yeah, I assume you're talking about that, and yeah, it was very much a convenient plot point of just, oh, you show me this hilt, there it is. Yeah, but it's one of those things. It was in the Watchtower. I don't really know why it was in the Alvin Watchtower as much. I'm guessing it's store. Well, I guess it was a point that they took over. I might have missed it from an earlier episode that the Watchtower used to be one of Morgoth's ones. But yeah, I don't know if they're trying to make it as that this blade actually has magical properties that make something happen, or if it's a bit like the reforging of Anduril, where it's the symbol of the sword is the power. Or I know it's magical; it can like form the blade when it cuts, and it basically sucks blood for power. But I don't know if it's more. Is it just a people will gather to me with this blade, or is it a this will actually turn me into a god, as Adar so elegantly put it. Fair. From Matthew Wilcoxon. Coxon. Bear also did the music for Black Sails, which is one of my all-time favorite shows. He kills everything he works on. Yeah, to be fair, I know he did. Didn't he do God of War? But I feel like that was the only other one I knew. I haven't actually seen Black Sails. But I'd be curious to listen to the soundtrack then. I'd love to hear his other work and see how it compares. Because yeah, I He's he's an uncovered gem for me in this show. And I'd very much pay attention to what he works on in the future. That's for sure. Okay, from Dweller of the Earth. That's my Black Sails is her boyfriend's favorite show. When Halbrand saved Galadriel from drowning, he said it sounded like Black Sails. That is actually very interesting. I think that's I like it when people take cues from stuff and bring them over. Fair play. I mean, no, I didn't crack open a beer. I should have cracked open a beer. It's only an energy drink. I am just that healthy. I am sorry. Although that now looks like an advertisement, doesn't it? I probably shouldn't leave that on screen. No. I've been up early to make sure I've watched the episode in time to talk to you all. So I'm feeling a bit tired. But yes, yeah, a beer at 9 o'clock in the morning might be a bit much. Episode wasn't that bad. Maybe for the finale, we'll have a crater beers for the finale. Maybe. Go on, crack a beer. You can all crack a beer for me. Why not? Have one for me. Maybe at a nicer point in the day. Okay, let's come to... Okay, from B. Vargas. I think that by Lost Their Ways, the Blue Wizards lost their original sight of having to fight Sauron and became Sorcerer Kings, magical emperors of the humans of the Far East. Yeah, that's kind of the feeling that I get from them. The Blue Wizards are just so interesting because Tolkien never really had a final idea. I mean, so much of what we ever got from his stories are just his notes that Christopher Tolkien put together. So, for all we know, actually, that J.R.R. Tolkien might have looked at what Christopher published and gone, "Whoa, no, that was not a final. No, that's wrong. Don't show people that." But it's the kind of thing that now we basically take as gospel. I mean, obviously, it's a what if; it'll never ever happen. But to be able to sit down with the man and really discuss like what his actual image for all this stuff was, his final thoughts. Because at one point, the Blue Wizards turned up in the Third Age with the others. Then he changed it to the Second Age with Glorfindel. So, which also means that if there is a Blue Wizard, there could well be Glorfindel at some point in the show, which I would love to see as well. But then he also said for them, he gave them different names at times as well. They were I'm about to say Anatalin. Yeah, Thingy and Palando, Marinatar, Romastamo. Yeah, they had their names changed. They even had their fates changed. Initially, they were told they went to the east and they failed. That they basically lost their way. They gave into the dark, or maybe they were even just killed. However, later on, it was said more that okay, maybe they didn't succeed outrightly, but without their impact in the east, the west couldn't have won the War of the Ring because the impact that they had on bringing down the Easterlings and such, potentially from the inside, was such a big factor into Sauron not quite having as big of an army that could have actually overrun Middle-earth, and that their impact is unknown, but so underappreciated because it's unknown. So it's almost like going, well, what do you want to do with them? But yeah, it would be interesting to see an evil one. You could potentially see evil versus good in that situation. They could try and make a blue versus blue, light versus dark type deal to get some Maya on Maya action, which could be interesting. Oh, okay, this is interesting. From Ranger of the North. Was that a Morgoth face statue at the Southlands? And is it possible that a Balrog could be inside? I mean, they said that Theosword is a key to something inside of it, so Adar is looking for a Balrog. Okay, that's interesting. Ooh, I'm trying to think of the face. Exactly what the face looked like. Do I have Amazon up here? I wonder if I can just... I won't be able to put it on screen because it won't work that way for me. But if I go to it now, see if I can see... It does look quite Balroggy, to be fair. With the sword in front of it. It could be. I mean, they said that they... The thing is, in the look... and it's hard to really argue what the law says because we know that it doesn't necessarily matter. But in the law, it said that the ones that survived dug themselves deep away. They weren't necessarily hidden behind a key, a door that was locked. They dug themselves so deep that they couldn't be found and basically judged. Um, so I don't know if it would be as simple as the case of there's a key to a door that unlocks a Balrog. Maybe, I don't know. It's hard with Amazon because you can't rule out that they would do these things. They've shown they are willing to change what they want to change if they want to tell that story. So they could do it. They could change what happened with the Balrogs in the end. I mean, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, but I don't think there's a final, like, definitive answer on how many Balrogs there even were. At least in my head canon. Somewhere between 5 and 10 seemed to be the number that sticks with me. But it is one of those things that he did change over time. One point there was like hundreds in the walls. And then at one point, I think it went down to like 3 or maybe 5. I can't think off the top of my head, if I'm perfectly honest. It's too early in the day. Yeah. So it could be. Yeah, I actually agree with this from Matthew. While that they used Peter Jackson's Balrog almost to a T in its design. Yeah, because Peter Jackson's Balrog isn't necessarily like correct, I guess. I mean, okay, there's the whole issue. Do Balrogs have wings? I'm very much in the camp of no. But yeah, and they're massive. Like the one from the movie is huge. Like I think they're big, but I'm thinking like beyond big, not like a building big. So yeah, I think like a Balrog is like, well, like Sauron. Like they're fallen Maya. They're fire demons. They're gonna be like big. If you're gonna talk height wise, I mean, I know it's hard because Galadriel's supposed to be 6 foot, Elendil's supposed to be touching 8 foot. It's like 7'11" or something ridiculous like that, and then nothing like that in the show. But if you're talking those heights, then you gotta look like 12 foot, 15 foot for a Balrog. Maybe not quite what they were, and obviously no wings as well. I would have loved them to have actually brought in a Balrog with no wings. That would have been very interesting. I mean, I'm assuming again now I'm on the spot and I can't particularly think in that scene with. By the way, if I'm looking over this way, is other monitor where I'm trying to scrub through and remind myself of things as I'm about to talk about them. But with the story of the elf and the Balrog fighting on top, do we see? Let's get this up. Apologies again that you can't see this because I can't share my screen with Amazon because it will just go black. But does this Balrog have wings? Sneaky. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, definitely has wings. Okay, I mean, I feel like they've actually gone more for the book description of this. That they look like wings of smoke, wings of shadow and flame, not necessarily. Yeah, yeah, they very much look like wings of smoke. I mean, that is a beautiful shot. Again, it has been said, and I will say it again. The shots are stunning in this. Absolutely stunning. Story point. Okay. Yeah, but yeah, that is beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. Anyway, I'm getting so distracted by that. Yeah, I kind of agree with this comment from Doug Dick. Is I always picture Balrogs as more or less fallen angels, which is basically, yeah, they're corrupted Maiar, which is basically a fallen angel in Tolkien's terms. Yeah, oh, absolutely. What do you? Okay, actually no. Let's go. Let's just go back a minute. What's going on with this poll? Okay, that's at 15 minutes. I'm going to end this poll now because I actually want to set up another one. But okay, poll actually finished. More of you of the 83 votes. The most rated thing was this is the best episode so far. Interesting. Interesting. Then, I mean, it's very close, but by far the lowest is saying that it is the worst episode, which I would agree with. I definitely, no way is this the worst episode. Not at all. But as I say that is quite amusing that straight away, I saw things says, how could any human being enjoy this horrible BS writing? Episode 5 was the worst, and that means something if you witnessed the 4 previous ones. See, I don't feel like this was the worst. Admittedly, they had their moments, but I feel like other episodes have had way worse moments. It's a hard one because, yeah, the writing hasn't been great, but yeah, I definitely wouldn't give it as the worst episode. I'd probably rate it top 2 of the 5. Not sure, not sure what else. But I'd be curious though, why is it the worst to you? If you do think it is the worst, what about this episode makes it worse than everything else? Because it's fair enough. You can like them whatever order you want. You can love the whole show. You can hate the whole show. It's completely your opinion. I'm not here to change your opinion. I'm just absolutely curious on why. So yeah, let me know why is episode 5 the worst? Clear's fine goes, not real wings, just intimidation for the opponent, like animals ruffling up feathers to look bigger. Yes, yeah, I feel like that's exactly what they did. I actually really like that because yeah, at first watch, I just kind of in my head they just went, oh, they have wings. That's it. It's their wings. That's all. But looking at it again, they seem very smoky. So yeah, an intimidation thing. I'm on board with that. I like that. I very much like that. Okay. Let's have a look. So, Dustin, has Umbar been created yet, or has Numenor not colonized Middle Earth yet? Numenor, from what I can tell, is very much not colonized Middle Earth yet. They've basically refused to leave their island until now for a long, long time. Maybe you've got some that went off years and years ago, but because of the compressed timeline, this is a really hard one to answer. Yeah, it's a really tough one to know. So the timeline doesn't actually make sense anymore. I don't believe like Umbar will be there. There will be people. No wait, I'm having a thought now. So Umbar, because they talk about the potential of people sailing past Numenor, and oh, that's just not working, is it? Yeah, I feel like there would be someone at Umbar. Maybe not Umbar in the sense that we know it as later on, but when they're on the raft in the first episode, they talk about it could be a Corsairs thing, which Corsairs of Umbar. It makes you think that Umbar is definitely around at this point. Not, I don't think Numenor have necessarily done anything with it to start with. Yeah, okay, it's supposed to have been founded by Numenor, but again, this is one of these things that I just don't. I think it's going to be there, but not in the way that we expect it. If you get what I mean. So yeah, Cluesfangle. No, Farazan says they want to colonize Middle Earth. They haven't apparently so far. Yeah, that's kind of what I got. The whole thing of if they haven't allowed any Alpha, anyone like that, to come to their island, it also appears they haven't let anyone go off their island either. So yeah, unless it was a long, long time ago, which I don't know, in the show could possibly just be a couple of 100 years. We don't really know in that term, but they won't be Numenorians in the way that we know from the island at this point. Okay, I saw things. Okay, it was so boring. Logic was way out of the window. The wolf stuff, the Halbrand stuff, the Isildur stuff, the Frozen Hand, Galadriel, of course, the lackluster Southland stuff, the dialogue in general. Okay. See, I wasn't bored. I was not bored in this episode. I very much I enjoyed it. I didn't. I've had points in other episodes which I felt like they've dragged, and I've always been a bit like, "Well, come on, get to the next bit now," you know. Where this one, I didn't feel that much. Yeah, I think I wouldn't have said it was boring. Like, there's things they've changed, which admittedly the writing wasn't always the best, but I don't think I'd go boring. The wolf stuff, I actually didn't mind. Halbrand stuff, yeah, okay, I'm a bit. The Halbrand Galadriel stuff, I'm not as first on. I feel like Galadriel might be getting better. I feel like she might be more willing to adapt and change her character a bit, but I'm not sold yet. I need to see how she ends up by the end of the season. Um, the Southland stuff is a weird one for me. I feel I really want to enjoy it. I love Arondir. I love Adar. I love the orcs. I love seeing inside the orc camps. I love giving them more of a more of a personality. I don't particularly want to like them. I don't want them to make us try and like them, but I like to see them and I like to see how they work, and basically just a bit more of yeah, just how they are as beings and how they actually survive. Apart from fighting wars, there's a lot of time in the middle of that they need to be doing something. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that. Don't necessarily enjoy the Bronwyn Theo stuff though. That part of it, I'm just a bit, yeah. Yes. Sorry, I saw a comment a minute ago, which I will address now. Where'd it go? There we go. Sorry, lost it for a minute. Any views on the blonde creepy elf? Blonde creepy elf. Which was the blonde creepy elf? What am I forgetting? Or do you mean the cultist priestess person? Was she an elf? She wasn't an elf, was she? Where is she? Trying to scroll through the episode quickly to find the point, but typically I can't find it. Was she an elf? Yeah, Slim Shady. Was that an elf, was it? Did I completely miss that point? Blonde creep. Oh, they mean Galadriel. Oh my god, where's it gone? Where's it gone? Why is this so hard? Okay, where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? Oh, this is frustrating. Okay, I'm scrolling through quick. I can't seem to see where it is. Oh, there she is. Let's see your ears. I think she is. Yeah, the cultist. Okay, I've just going through the scene in the background now. No, that one, the one with the helmet, is a human. That one's covering her ears. Nah, they are normally is okay. No, not an elf, but could well still be a priestess. Doesn't have to be an elf to be a priestess, so that's all fine. One of his attendants. Yeah, you kind of get very with the wind. Yeah, definitely don't think we get a shot of elf ears. No. Okay, no, yeah. But yeah, my views on this is I really don't know at this point. I'm intrigued to see how they are going to bring Eminem into this show. If it's going to be more songs. But no. Yeah, we know that there was the cult of Malkor. We know that there are priestesses and people good with magic and healing and things like that. But the searching for the stranger part, I'm just not quite sure exactly what that means yet. Obviously, they were holding up the big circle metal thing. Like, there seemed to be a hint to where he would be. The constellation thing, whether that's a sign of this. They knew of the meteor that was coming and it would land in this spot, judging by the stars. That's where they've gone to search for him. But then they look like from they're Melkor worshippers. So why would Melkor have that information? Who knows? Yeah, it's okay. The cultists blow a leaf that turns to fire that might involve the stranger that's supposedly from the trailer. Um, yeah, that very much hints to the stranger and them having similar abilities, obviously, with that kind of thing. I don't know yet. I don't know what they're doing with it. I can't judge what it's supposed to be because could well be, but at this point we don't have any hint they're linked to Adar or anyone like that. So don't know if that's anything. Like obviously we had the reaction of Adar to being called Sauron. Um, so maybe these are true Sauron worshippers, and yeah, interesting. Sorry, let's bring up this one because it's caught my eye and is very interesting. I am, after this episode, fully on board with Adar is Maglor. The fact that he hated being compared to Sauron. Okay, so first I will address the whole being compared to. Oops. Actually, I'm going to put up a poll as well because I'm going to get in the role of this now. Do this. Okay. So then, who do you think? I'm going to give you a couple of options here. Who is Adar? I did a video on this. I did a live stream on this day before yesterday on who is Adar. Went over a couple of theories. So I'm going to put a couple here and see which one do you think. So I will put Maglor as the first, as that one's just come up. Obviously, let's put Sauron down because everyone thinks everyone is Sauron. Let's go for Myglin. Apologies for that. And let's go for completely original. Actually, for Myglin, I'm going to put Aeol or Myglin because if they can make one work, they can probably make either work. Let's ask the community. What do you all think? Oh, sorry. Okay, I will come back to this in just a moment. As I've had a super chat, which I will address. Okay, from Swink. Theory: Isildur's sister is going to join or be a founder / leader of the Kingsmen faction. Yep, I very much think they're pointing at this point. For me, I feel like the obvious storyline they're going to do with her is she's going to fall in love with this Kemin. They're going to be on Farazon's side. She's going to go against her family. There's going to be a lot of family tension between it all. But at the last moment, she's going to have built something or done something to do with her job that means she turns back to the faithful at the last moment and helps them escape. Whether that means she builds the ships that they escape on, or maybe she'll build the temple to Malkor originally, and then she'll build the ships that lets them go later, or she'll have built a building where they get captured, and then she's led an escape route that she knows of in there or something. But yeah, I feel like she's very much been brought in at this point to be will she betray them? Will she go against her family for the one that she might love? But in fact, I feel that both Kemin and Eowyn, am I remembering? I've just mind blanked on the name. Is it Eowyn? Yeah, I feel like she'll go on the side of the Kingsmen and then turn back to the faithful at the last moment, potentially at a sacrifice, as she's not supposed to survive afterwards. Or she'll go on to help build Gondor and Arnor in Middle Earth. But that's kind of where I feel like her story will go. But I feel like Kemin will end up being a sacrificial lamb to save her because they love each other, and he'll pick her and the faithful over his father. Yes. That's kind of what my thought. But yes, I do very much agree with the theory that Isildur's sister is going to join the Kingsmen faction for a time, even if she later regrets it. But thank you for the super chat. I really, really appreciate that. Obviously, if you have questions and you do very much want me to spend more time discussing them, super chats do help because I do get distracted otherwise. But yes, how's our poll getting on? Just as a very quick one. What are we looking at? Okay, couple of votes so far. And completely original is leading the way. There are still some of you out there who think he's Sauron. Who really thinks Adar is Sauron? And why? Why do you think he is Sauron? as Duck says. Adar being Sauron maybe seems too obvious. I'm more on the side of Dweller of the Earth. I don't believe we've actually seen Sauron yet. I don't believe any of the characters that could be Sauron is Sauron. I think he's unknown to us. If we think of it in terms of logically, I guess, attempted logically, maybe, when we're going against Amazon, Celebrimbor wants the forge built. He wants it built by next spring. Very specific. For the long life of an elf that can spend 20 years without seeing his friend and not even think about it for a second. Next spring is a very, very fast plan of action. So someone has got to have given him that reason. They've tried to hint it in this episode that the reason is that they are dwindling away and they need this mithril by then. But that also doesn't go in line with what Celebrimbor says about wanting to make something that is basically on par with the Silmarils because of how his grandfather made something so great. Feanor, the amazing smith, created these Silmarils, and he wants to do something the same, and he needs this all-powerful forge to even attempt to do something as great. But it needs to be next spring. So what I believe then, is the point I was trying to get to, is you have Anatar, this so-called elf, in the background, who has been whispering in Celebrimbor's ear for plenty of time, and we will get shown to him later on. They've already shown that Gil-galad and Celebrimbor are willing to hide things from the likes of Elrond, so why would they not hide someone like this? Why? I see no jump in logic to think that this Celebrimbor that we've got in the show would hide the fact that there's this other being claiming to be an elf, a representative of the Valar, perhaps, in the background, and that he will come at a later date. Maybe he is leading the project. Maybe he is on the ground organizing the building of these forges, so he knows everything is done his way, and it is Sauron, because Sauron does like to forge. He does like to build. He is a student of Owley the Smith. He's one of the best. Realistically, there's not another Maya with the same abilities as him. There's only one greater smith that's ever existed than Sauron, and that is Owley himself. So yeah, there's no reason he wouldn't be looking at everything to get exactly how he wants it. Who knows? Who knows? But yes, I very much am agreeing with you that I do not believe that we have seen Sauron yet. And okay, there's a couple of comments saying about, the show is a bag of so-and-so. Fair. If you don't like the show, you don't like the show. That's absolutely fine. I've got no issues with people who don't like the show. I very much have my grievances with the show. Let me know why. I'd just love to know why. If you can give me a fair reasoning of why you dislike the show, minus the generic arguments, really, then I'm all for a great discussion. All for it. But okay, I'm gonna have a moment now, and I'll pause over a drink. So there's bits of the episode that we haven't quite touched on yet. So the whole episode starts right with we're with the Harfoots, and at this point the stranger's starting to learn to talk again. He's having his moments where he's trying to get out words like the I did quite enjoy the little back and forth between Nori and the stranger at this point. I will admit, of the migrate them, no migration, when migrating. Oh, migrate them. I like that. Then yeah, it's funny that he's only just learning odd words again. Is that he couldn't speak English at all? Which I felt like is more that he'd be trying to remember to speak, which means it should come back more rather than just it's like he's learning English for the first time. But I'd love to, and this is something I will do in my breakdown video, is map out the path that the Harfoots take. Because I'm sure many of those locations are ones that we know well from other times. I know we had the Grey Marshes. And it'd be interesting to see kind of where they go with that. But yeah. Okay, let's Alex says Mithril is a rare ore. It has magical properties, but was never created from a duel between an elf and a Balrog. That's very true. Yeah, yeah, it's very true, and I've kind of already touched on all this, so I won't really go into it much again. I don't understand why. This is one of the bits that go against the show for me is I don't know why it needs a backstory, to be honest. I feel it takes away from its story to give it a backstory like this. But yes. Owen Jones. Oh no, I've seen a live video, clicked on it, but I haven't seen the episode yet. Well, obviously we're talking about spoilers, so fair enough if you can't hang around just yet. But yeah, come back later. Have a re-listen. Or watch out for my breakdown video later today. Either way, I hope you enjoyed the episode. And I hope nothing was spoiled for you too quickly. Okay, from Mr. Green. Just saw one of your vids about Gandalf's story. Is the guy that fell from the sky Gandalf? But a couple of weeks back, more towards the beginning of the season, did a theory video on who the stranger is. Don't think it's Gandalf. Kind of been over it a bit today of thinking it very much is one of the Blue Wizards, which I also have a video or two covering the Blue Wizards on the channel. So if you'd like to know more about them, check that out. But I've also gone over that theory a bit already today, so I won't go around repeating myself just yet. Oh, super chat. Thank you very much. I swink. The Balrog and Alf story is badass. It was a cool story. Like, it was a good moment. I just the thing it was doing though just didn't really work and make sense to me. It was a case like having moments like that, having flashbacks of things, having those stories told. It was a different like style as well. It wasn't live action. It was almost like animated. Um, it was good, but yeah, is the frustrating part is when they put good moments in, but they give us the visuals without the proper backstory to it. Yeah, but this is a good point, and I will say this is with these reactions is they are initial reactions, so sometimes it does happen. But like Dwell of the Earth says, I like the visuals, but I need to watch it again because I couldn't focus on the words, which is yeah, a very fair point. There are the few odd things that I am trying to forget. Oh, not trying to forget that I am forgetting, because it's just that one watch. I need to see it again. I need to go through the whole episode again before doing a breakdown, to get some of those like more minute details. But yeah, it's basically along the lines of they fought. The elf was trying to put his light into the tree to defend it so the Balrog wouldn't destroy it. The Balrog then used his fire against it. They came together, I think it was basically caused lightning to hit the tree, and then the tree's roots, the lightning went down, and this is what made Mithril form throughout the mountain, was this lightning. I think. I may be slightly misremembering that. But oh, that's interesting. Was that supposed to be Glorfindel? Or potentially, also from Dustin, Icthelion. That is interesting. I feel like if it was supposed to have been, I feel it weird that they wouldn't have named the elf, you know? If an elf did something so important, iconic, for one, fought a Balrog on top of the Misty Mountains, defending this tree, and this instance of them fighting caused this material more precious than gold to form, surely they would be named. Elves do like stories. They like to record their histories. So, yeah, if it was one of those, if it was like Icthelion, if it was Glorfindel, I feel like that would have been said. Unless it's a myth. Maybe it didn't really happen. Who knows? Okay. This is something that I was thinking myself when I watched the episode. I added in my notes. from 50x. Very odd how at the end of the episode, Galadriel is wearing her armor again. She didn't bring it on the raft on her way to Numenor, so why does she have it now? I need to go back and double check, but is it the exact same armor that she wears in episode 1 when they're fighting, when they're exploring the ice? Is it the same armor or is it slightly different? It's similar, that's for sure. But yeah, it seemed a little bit odd. Suddenly she had her armor again. I know it's like one of those little things that probably doesn't matter that much in the grand scheme of it all. But yeah, it was very much a where did it come from? Is it going to be claimed like Halbrand forged it or something? Or the Numenorians forged it for her? I mean, it looks great. I do love that armor. I know it's not yeah, I know it's not people don't like Galadriel in armor. But the armor does look cool if you just take it for fair. I thought the armor was different, and I assume they had some armor maybe in a trophy room or something. Well, that's the thing though, is at this point the Numenorians, most of them, don't like the elves. On the front of it, Miriel has only just showed herself as an elf lover. So yeah. I don't know, maybe there was a record somewhere and someone reforged it of what it was, but I don't know. I really don't know. Just one of those weird ones. But I will also address at this point. What did you all think? Actually, no, before I get to that, sorry, I will come back to my thought in a moment. How are we getting on with Adar? We've given it 15 minutes. Let's end the poll there. Let's wait for it. Okay, there we go. So, again, Sauron loses out. Only 6% of you think that Adar is actually Sauron. Majority of you, in other words, just over half, believe he will be a completely original character. I feel like I'm more on board with him being an original character. I feel like the show has done a much better job with original characters than they have with already established ones. So I feel like Adar has more potential if he is original. Maybe. But we'll see. But yes, I'm on that board. Okay. Then back to what I was going to say, actually. Yes, just remind myself for one more. What did you all think of the Numenor armor? The actual like army armor. Because I suppose there is the other point of yeah, I wonder if that's the point of I completely lost my train of thought then. I am so sorry about that. My mind has just gone. It is still early here. Yeah, Numenorian armor. That's where we're going. Okay. I thought it looked awesome. I was really a big fan of it. I love the gold or whitish look, I guess. I like the scale. I know people don't like the scales. I like the look of the armor. But one thing I do really want to point out is if people paid attention to Elendil's helmet. As it showed him, he's got the big helmet with the bits. I don't know the terms. I do apologize. And he looks quite majestic, doesn't he? Where's he gone on his horse? Because it does two things really. One, I remember seeing a thing that one of Tolkien's more original drawings, what Elendil might look like. That helmet is a lot closer to what Tolkien thought the that Elendil would wear, which I find very nice that they've taken that kind of inspiration from it from Tolkien himself when they can. But also, it does also hint straight away at if you think of the idea behind the guards of the Fountain Court from the Lord of the Rings, the style that they took for the films. It's quite similar to that. That you can see that there might be some inspiration, or I guess in this ways it's backwards inspiration. Yeah, so yeah, I liked it. I like the Numenorian armor. So you know what? Let's do a poll. Why not? Let's do another one. I'm curious because I know people have been on the fence about this. Do you like Numenorian armor? Very simple. Yes and no. Go, go, go. Let's see what you all think. You know my thoughts. I like it. Yeah, but I know there's a lot of people, they didn't like the scales. They didn't like the look. I like the color schemes. I like the look. They they look they they look like royalty, I guess, in a way. They look more important. So yeah, vote away, vote away. We'll see we'll give it 15 minutes and come back to it. Probably the last one, because I probably won't be staying much more than 15 minutes now, actually. I've been an hour 15. About an hour and a half seems about right for this stream, I think. Where I just saw something. I've completely lost. There was a comment I was going to address, but I've just completely lost it. Okay. Here's the thing that we will look at. Where is Celeborn? You know, tell me, where is Celeborn for a much desire to speak with him? So basically, sorry, completely distracted by some Numenorian armor for a moment there. So Celeborn and Galadriel, yes, they should be together. They definitely should be together. They got together in the First Age. They actually met, if I remember right, in Doriath. I believe Galadriel went with Finrod, I think. I hope I'm remembering this right. Sorry, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Galadriel went with Finrod to Doriath and met Celeborn there. And I'm pretty sure they were said to have met and then married pretty quickly, kind of thing. Like they fell in love instantly. It was like love at first sight, as you would expect. And that all happens in the First Age. And really at that point, that was kind of a bit of it. That was it for their role in the First Age. And then, okay, they both lived in Linden, I think it was, at the beginning of the Second Age. And yeah, it's kind of yeah, he should be there. So where is he? Who knows? I mean, I'm just trying to think of Celeborn's story now. So him and Galadriel were definitely in Linden earlier on in the Second Age. And then, oh my god, I can't think. Okay, I'm actually going to quickly bring up Celeborn and tell you exactly where he should be at this time, because I cannot remember off the top of my head. Celeborn. I don't want to start chatting something and then it being completely wrong. Okay, let's go for him. Okay. There we go. Celeborn. Okay, yes, this says. Okay, yep. Yeah, okay, yes, I was right. They met in Doriath as guests of Thingol, married, fell in love, and were wedded soon afterwards. And that was in the First Age. Then, okay, yep, Celeborn Galadriel lived in Linden. And then from there, crossed into Eriador. They had Celebrian and what should have been around the year 300 of the Second Age, which we feel like we're way past at this point anyway. So yeah, the fact they haven't met, let alone had their daughter yet, which obviously brings up all the questions of the Galadriel Elrond relationship as well. Okay, so he ended up in a Region with Celebrimbor. Okay, so maybe after what happens then for the show, it'll be a case of Galadriel will end up in a Region at some point to do with the forging, seeing all this stuff going on, and meet Celeborn there. Maybe we'll meet Celeborn before the end of the season as an elf to do with something that Celebrimbor has going on behind the scenes. Maybe someone who's against it, or who knows. So yes, okay, yes. Just to confirm then, as I was saying, I kind of went further into the second age than you'd asked, but yes, the end answer is they should already be married and they should have a kid 300 years into the second age, which is very much well past it, because if the likes of Alvos and all are long dead, then we're way past that point. So yeah, ends up being, who knows where he is? Nobody knows. We don't have a clue. Let's just hope Amazon know. Maybe. Got there in the end. Okay. Nathan. Who gave Sauron the name Anatar? Actually was in the elves, or he himself, because the name Anatar hasn't been dropped yet. So Sauron is maybe Halbrand first, then Anatar later, as he can shapeshift. I believe Sauron gave himself the name of Anatar. That's just how he introduced himself. He basically turned up out of nowhere at the realms of the elves. Initially, he even went to Lindon and Gil-galad and Elrond, and they were like, "No, you don't feel right. We're not letting you in here." Then the whole thing, he went to Eregion, Celebrimbor, and got in there. But I believe he introduced himself as Anatar. He is the Lord of Gifts. He is an emissary of the Valar. So basically a messenger of the Valar. So I believe he gives himself the name. I don't think anyone... Yeah, I believe it is him. He gives himself the name. So whenever he does come in, it's he does it himself, not someone else should. From Ben, if we got to have a romance in the show, it'd be better if it's canon, the Galadriel Celeborn one, because the Bronwyn Arondir thing just isn't really cutting it. I very much agree with that. I have no connection with the Arondir Bronwyn thing. I like Arondir. Couldn't care less about Bronwyn at this stage. She's not done enough to root for me to be rooting for her as this leader either. I'm just not there with that at all. And yeah, it's the same thing that we keep going over with basically every episode and stuff at the moment, is they already have these things they could do, and they've decided just not to do them. So yeah, it's a bit of a strange choice, especially when they're doing it between an elf and a woman. I don't know why they're doing that. But from Connor, Theo better not be Arondir's kid. There's no ears. There's no hint of him being an elf. It's going to more likely be the like of Halbrand or something like that. And maybe, I don't know, maybe that's why Bronwyn thinks she can lead, because she was with the should-be king of the Southlands. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, basically. Watch Halbrand marry Bronwyn. To be honest, I would prefer that than Arondir Bronwyn. Like, it's, yeah. I feel like the elf-human relationship should be so rare. That's why they're such a big deal. I feel like if they just, almost like if there's every adaptation, we get a new one, it's just not the same then, is it? Yeah, so we'll have to see how it goes. From the Jackal, Theo marries Bronwyn. Oh wait, no, wrong series. I was thinking Game of Thrones. Yeah. I haven't actually seen any of House of the Dragon yet. I'm waiting for that all to come out. And I've heard very good things. I've heard very good things about House of the Dragon. And it makes me sad, because everyone compares it to this, and it's just not the same. Oh dear. Okay, how are we getting on with our poll? We'll stop this one quicker. It's only been 8 minutes, but how are we looking? 68% of you like the Numenorian armor. 31% of you say no. That doesn't even make 100%. What? 99% of you a yes or no. 1% of you suppose you just don't exist. Well done, YouTube. Doing good there. From Jago. Sorry if this has already been discussed, but do we think theories of Halbrand being Sauron were dispelled after this episode? No, I don't think we have discussed it yet. But I I have not thought that Halbrand is Sauron. I feel like it is way too obvious. Um, I like I kind of mentioned not long ago. I very much believe that we have not even seen Sauron yet on screen. Um, I feel like this episode does help go against the idea that Halbrand is Sauron. The fact that he's willing to go back there and everything, or if he was just, he might be playing an act, faking that he didn't want to go back to be persuaded to think, okay, I'll go, to really put them on that. But also, yeah, it just doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work for me at all. Yeah. Okay, so is there anything else in this episode we haven't touched on yet? Like I said, I will be doing um, a breakdown later today on the episode, maybe with a few more of the little details. I suppose one person we haven't touched on yet really is Farazan. I preferred Farazan in this episode to the one before. You definitely get more that he is the schemer. He works behind the scenes. He is very clever at how he goes about things. He can definitely see the long game in the actions that are taken, and he's not very reactionary. He very much is methodical in his thought process. And I like that. That feels much more Farazan than the just kind of follows. I don't know if this was said before, but I feel like it might be like verbally said for the first time in this episode, was that they've confirmed that Farazan is Miriel's cousin. Now there's the whole part of the law in the books that he forces her to marry him to basically become king in the end. I don't think they're going to go down that route. They will probably get accused of being too Game of Thrones if they go down that route, despite the fact it was there first. But yeah, like, I mean, it's a fair point from Connor here. Where's that gone? Oh, there it is. Okay. Farazan only had 2 scenes, so it's easy to forget he was in this episode. See, I almost found the opposite. I found Farazan really good in the episode. I found he left a mark. I liked it. I didn't like Kemen. The whole thing. I'm not a fan of his character at all. He's one of the few additions, like original characters actually, that I don't like. Most of them I'm okay with, but Cameron is very much one that I'm not on board with. He's in the same pocket as Theo at this point, just yeah. But yeah. That's a very good point. Tar Palantir did tell her in the end to not go to Middle-earth because I believe she says only darkness awaits you there. But she's going to go there anyway, which is a bit of a weird one. I guess she's taken the signal from. Sorry, let's just move this. Taking the signal from the Valar of the petals falling from the tree as gospel, and she's got to do it now. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. It's weird. Maybe she just thinks he's gone a bit too crazy, and just she needs to do what she feels like is the right thing. Okay, just to warn you, I'm going to be a couple of more minutes. So if you've got any quick questions you want me to try and cover at the end, let's do them now, and I will give you 5 more minutes because then I do have to get on with the breakdown. Okay, so Ranger of the North. When Nori mentioned to Stranger that they are traveling to the Old Forest, is that the Old Forest, the forest at Buckland, on the borders of Buckland, or something else? And the map thing while they were traveling, where is that? This is something I need to rewatch and go back to. While watching the episode, I was trying to make some notes as I was doing it, but at the same time, I was just trying to watch the episode for the first time as well. So yeah, I need to relook at the map and see exactly where they've been and if these are places we should be familiar with. I feel like they are, but I actually really like that part of the war. It felt very Lord of the Rings to me. It felt very traveling, epic landscapes, all of that. Like I was impressed. I was happy to see it. It made me feel good. As stupid as it made me feel good to see the people walking over epic landscapes. Like I liked it. I need to go back and see where all the places exactly are, though, and figure out exactly if we know what's what. Yeah, there's a few. They talk about Rockfoot and a few others, but yeah, Trout Bend, Thistledale, the Braids. But yeah. But okay, I'm going to kind of leave it at that point for now. I will leave you all be. I will get on with a breakdown. And yeah, I'll kind of just leave you all to it. Hopefully, check out the breakdown later. Leave me a comment on what you think. Let me know all your thoughts and opinions. I would love to hear them. But yeah, I'll kind of leave it at there for today. So I hope you all have a great day. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you all did at least slightly enjoy the episode in one way or another. And yeah, I will see you next time. And next time, I'm sure Jake will be back here as well. So I'll see you all next time on The Broken Sword. Bye, guys.